you don't get a second chance. I can't fix this. Azad just received a refusal on his 18-month post-grad work permit extension application. He made one little mistake, and it cost him dearly. He had desperately needed this 18-month post-grad extension. Through circumstances outside of his control, he did not yet have enough Canadian work experience to qualify for permanent residence before his existing post-grad work permit expired. The immigration minister's announcement of the 18-month post-grad extension last year was like a gift from God for Azad, but he only had one shot to get it right. When his application was rejected, that window of time had passed for him to file. He was out of status, and his golden opportunity was gone. I had to tell Azad on that all too common Zoom call that you don't get a second chance. Over the past 18 years, I've helped thousands of people just like Azad and, like you, get your work permits approved. Azad's experience is all too common. People try to do it all on their own and overlook the smallest of things that result in their application getting refused when it should have been approved. Mistakes that were totally avoidable. When this happens, there's often nothing I can do to help. With these work permit applications, there are no second chances. Azad's response to me was one I've heard countless times. Mark, how was I supposed to know? I researched everything. I did everything I thought Canada Immigration wanted me to do. Mark, this is so unfair. I believe no one who qualifies for the 18-month post-grad extension should ever have to see their dream of immigrating to Canada shattered because of a simple, avoidable mistake. For years, I've wondered why immigration takes such a cruel approach to simple mistakes. How hard is it to give people another chance, especially when a tiny, tiny mistake results in their dream of immigrating to Canada being shattered? Well, despite my hopes that immigration would soften their position and show mercy, this has simply not been the case. So, rather than sit back and wait for more heartbreaking consultations with other people, just like Azad, I determined to do something about it. If IRCC is unwilling to offer more helpful guidance and warn potential applicants of the pitfalls so many candidates face, just like Azad, well, I'd do it myself. So to start off, in the next few minutes, I'm going to share my top 3 tips on how you can prepare now for when Minister Fraser launches the 18-month post-grad work permit extension process for 2022. Number 1, make sure, 100% sure, that your passport has at least 18 months of validity on it. Why? If your passport's expiring in 6 months and you submit this application, you are not going to be able to extend it once you get your new passport. So whatever you're granted in that first go round, that's all you're going to get. And I know that some of you are desperately needing the Canadian work experience to bolster your comprehensive ranking system score or to otherwise qualify through one of the P&Ps. So you need that time. You need that buffer. We don't know exactly what Minister Fraser is going to do with this new power he has to target strategic occupations or strategic groups. So tip number 1, if you have not yet and your passport is going to be expiring within 18 months, do everything that you can to extend it. Number 1. All right. Number 2. And number 2 is something that not enough people are talking about. They're just not. Or at least they're just not paying attention to the realities. And number 2 is simply this. Start collecting your documents now. How many times repeatedly have we seen the government make some big announcement and then everybody's scrambling to collect the documents? Well, guys, it's pretty clear what documents are going to be essential for this process. Passport. Which ones are potentially uncertain? Well, we don't know if there will be any kind of a language requirement. We don't know if there's going to be police clearance certificates required or medicals. We just don't know. We don't know, well, we can probably guess that at the very least, proof of your education, your transcript might be there as well. But the goal for you is to start collecting all of these things now, because any time that you have to rely on some third party, like a school to give you something, or your country to give you a passport, or another country to give you a police clearance certificate, all of those things are outside of your control and can completely destroy the opportunities that you have. I know because I've seen it happen. It's what happened to a ton of people last time who were trying to apply for the 2021 version of the postgrad work permit extension. So don't make that mistake. Start collecting those documents now. That's number 2. The third one, I want you to listen very, very carefully. You must not fall out of status. What does that mean? If your postgrad work permit is expired, don't just sit back and do nothing and say, woe is me. You need to do whatever it takes to maintain your status. Many people had to transition to visitor visa status. And while they're waiting for the minister to announce this program that we've been waiting for so long, others, their postgrad work permits haven't yet expired, but they will this year. Other individuals have already tried or attempted to restore their status because they have fallen out of status. Well, if you're out of status right now, I want you without any reservation to go ahead and start that process of restoring your status now. Why? Because when we look back on the 2021 version of the postgrad extension, you had to either be in one of 3 camps. 1, you had valid status on a valid postgrad work permit and you were eligible to extend. 2, you had restored your status or transformed to a visitor status or something else. Or 3, you were out of status but eligible to maintain or to restore that status. And the restoration of your status is a critical component if you're in any way, shape, or form hoping to be able to benefit from the program. So those are the first 3. Passport, at least 18 months of validity. Start collecting your documents now. And the third one, don't fall out of status. All right. Over the years, I've had an opportunity to connect with so many people. And one of the most common comments I get from people is this: Mark, I've watched you in your live streams for a very long time. I've seen how many people benefit from the content you produce on Canadian immigration. What I want to know is if you work with people directly when they're filing their immigration applications. The answer is yes. It was for this purpose, to help as many people as possible, that I created the Canadian Immigration Institute. I discovered by creating comprehensive DIY courses and then combining them with live masterclass sessions taught directly by me, I was able to help thousands of people on a scale I could have never done otherwise. The success of these DIY courses has been overwhelming. And if the DIY course model works for express entry, spousal sponsorship, last year's TR to PR pathway, and so many others, the DIY course model and masterclass will work just as well for all of you looking to apply for your 18-month postgrad work permit. My goal is to ensure that no one faces the same situation that Azad did, that all of you get your applications approved the first time. Let me let you in on a little secret. I've done something a little different this time. Sometimes I've never even contemplated this, but sometimes I've never even done this before. I know how desperate you guys are to get your applications filed as soon as possible once the program's launched. Many of you have been without work for many months because your postgrad, it expired. My heart breaks for all of you and what you've been put through. It didn't have to be this way. So, as a way to specifically help those most in need, I've decided to allow people to join me live as I record the individual modules and lessons of the 18-month postgrad extension course. Instead of you waiting until the final course is launched, I'm going to grant live access for you to watch, learn, and become educated while I record the actual lessons that will make up the course. And I'm going to offer this view-only access for only $25. I've never offered one of my courses for this little money. However, I feel this is what I need to do at this time. Now, this is not going to be the final polished version of the course. It'll be rough and tumble because this will be at the raw recording stage and things go badly sometimes. No editing, no additional resources, no access to the recordings once the live sessions are over. This will be a view-only process, just like you're back in school. Watching a lecture with the professor up at the front, you'll need to take notes because you won't have access to the recordings, the sample documents, the templates, and the ability to ask questions that occurs in the master classes. Yes, you will be able to upgrade your subscription to the full course when it's launched, which will happen very quickly. However, you simply don't, well, if you're one of those people that doesn't have the money, then $25 will get you a long way because you'll be able to have access to all of the essential core videos if you choose to join the live in the private community group where my recordings will be broadcast. Now, although this is not the same as the full $197 course that comes with all the bells and whistles and 2 hours of direct masterclass teaching from me, however, this low price point will allow me to reach virtually anyone looking for help in properly preparing and filing their 18-month postgrad work permit extension correctly. So what does this mean for you? Well, it's that you'll have a unique opportunity to access exclusive DIY course content at a price never before seen. And I'd love for you to join me immediately following the announcement of the minister as I put together these lessons and launch the 18-month postgrad work permit course. So click on the link below and register now for the live access only. That broadcast will only cost you $25. Now, whether you're someone who currently holds a postgrad work permit that will expire this year, someone whose postgrad has expired and, well, you were forced to apply for visitor status, or even someone who through no fault of their own has fallen out of status, but may still be eligible, well, this course is for you. No matter what stage you're at in your journey, whether or not you even used an immigration consultant or lawyer previously to help you, this course will give you exactly what you need. That edge in getting your application approved the first time. Picture a day when after all you've been through, you finally have your work permit back again. Picture a day when you receive your very next paycheck after having been without the ability to earn an income for such a long time. Picture a day when after all your hard work, you qualify for permanent resident status in Canada and realize your dream of becoming a Canadian citizen. Join me in my 18-month postgrad extension class, and that day is today. Let me leave you with one final thought before I wrap this up. As many of you know, with the beautiful Canadian winters come some colder temperatures. Now, as a homeowner, you learn very quickly that you need to blow out your underground sprinklers before winter comes, or they will freeze and break your sprinkler lines because, well, water, when it freezes, it expands. Well, a couple of years ago, things got so busy preparing to launch my new immigration law firm that I forgot to do it. And yes, my sprinkler lines broke. They froze solid. My wife told me to go hire a professional sprinkler installer to repair the break in our line. I said, why? I can do this. It's not hard. We can save money by just having me do it myself. So after 3 months, yes, 3 months, I finally got around to working on those broken lines. However, I ran out of time before we had to leave for a trip out of town. Unfortunately, I forgot to close the water valve to the sprinklers before we left. A couple days later, after we're away, I got a call from my kids saying that a city maintenance employee had come by our house because our neighbors were complaining about water flooding their backyard. The kids had turned on the main water valve to the outside of the house, and when they did this, The water flooded back into those broken sprinkler lines that I had not closed off. Because I never got around to finishing the job, the water completely flooded our backyard and our neighbor's backyard as well. In fact, there was so much water that one of our trees started leaning sideways because the ground was a literal swamp. I'll bet you can guess what my wife told me. Why didn't you just hire a professional? Because I tried to do it on my own, I wasted months of time, literally months, not being able to use my sprinklers during the hot summer. Our grass completely dried out, and well, it caused some pretty significant damage to both my and my neighbor's yards. I spent a ton of money and time trying to fix the problem myself. And in the end, well, the problem was actually worse than before I even started. So, yep, I did what I should have done in the beginning. I hired a professional, and the problem was fixed within a day. You know, at times in our lives, we think we can do it on our own, but we really need to hire an expert. The reality is that I don't fix broken underground sprinklers every day like an expert. I may only have to deal with a broken sprinkler once in my life. The same is true for you and your 18-month post-grad work permit extension application. You only go through the process once. I've been helping people safely navigate the post-grad work permit process since it was first created many years ago, and I love doing it. Now, you guys, is the time to avoid those costly mistakes. Stop wasting time and get better results that you could ever achieve trying to do it all on your own. My broken sprinklers cost me a lot of time and money. However, despite how badly I messed things up, the professional was still able to fix things for me. When it comes to the 18-month post-grad work permit extension, you do not get a second chance. Fortunately, with the help of my 18-month post-grad extension course, you can significantly increase your chances of getting your application approved the first time. Click on the link below and register, and I will see you in the upcoming live recordings. Take care.